นับสนุนโดยบริษัทสิงห์คอร์ปอเรชั่นจำกัด
Ford Everest รถอเนกประสงค์ของครอบครัวตัวจริง
I think in terms of legislation, all countries have legislation that grant women equal rights, but in practice, in real life, I think the problem is with the attitude.
Yes, I mean there would always be traditional undertones because in my country, women have always performed in the past what is perceived to be women's duties, cooking, looking after children, and staying at home, preparing for the family or fending for the family, but not to the extent that the man would be doing the same thing. So it is a challenge. We need to change the mindset. We need to encourage women not to be afraid to move forward and play these roles.
How does Norway break that mentality, though, of men?
I think we're still working on that. No, but you can have sort of mild. There are mild ways of forcing men to choose differently, in the sense that the obvious example in Norway is the case of maternity leave, where actually it's not called maternity leave anymore. It's parental leave, and there are only part of the leave is actually set aside for the woman, and you have to take that just after giving birth. The rest of the weeks of parental leave, you can divide between the mother and the father of the newborn. Now, how to encourage men to take around half of that? One thing that has been the problem in Norway is that the amount of money you get during the leave is based on the woman's salary. Now the encouragement goes to making a system whereby if the father takes leave, it's based on his salary, and when the mother takes her leave, it's based on her salary. It's things like that. It is the trendy thing to do in Norway for young couples is for both to take an equal amount of leave, for example.
But in general, how do Norwegian men look at women, though?
I think in general Norwegian men look at women as someone equal. In general, I would say so. They wouldn't think that there were work women couldn't do or things like that. It's natural. And we have, in principle, we are the same. We can do the same. Both sexes. So if women carry heavy things, would men help? No. No, that's the backside. They will not open the door for you then.
Oh.
Not really?
No.
Some men.
I'm joking a little bit, but it's true. You're equal. You open the door.
So the situation is totally different than in India.
In some ways, I think the thing with India is I often say, and it's really a fact, that in India, you have from the 16th century to the 21st century existing side by side. You have a certain section of society where women are very educated, very liberal, very equal. We were perhaps one of the first countries in the world to have a woman prime minister. We currently have a woman president.
Right.
The president of the Indian National Congress is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. So we can't say we don't have role models of strong and powerful women. For the diplomatic service, for example, we've had women ambassadors since 1947. Much earlier than many of the developed countries. And even now, out of 120 ambassadors worldwide, 20 are women, Indian ambassadors. So that's 15%, which again is much higher than many countries. But I think there are, it has to be a combination. There has to be a combination of legislation. There has to be a combination of family attitudes and social attitudes changing. And I think women themselves have to become more confident and be able to speak up and say, I want something beyond the traditional role, which is easy for us to do in a liberal and an urban context. I think it's hard for a woman who lives in a traditional family, maybe in a small village in India or in South Africa, to do that. It's hard.
And in Israel, Ambassador Rubenstein, what's the dynamics of the relations between men and women?
Well, it's a very interesting dynamic. I just want to refer to the maternity leave. Also in Israel, we have the paternal leave. It's not necessarily goes to the women, but now you have the debate. I mean, on the side of the women, not only that they carry the baby for 9 months and suffer during delivery, now they have to give up the days, and to go immediately to work. They say, out of the question. Come on, give us a break. And this is one of the, and this you can agree. There is some side to this point, I must say. I mean, we have in Israel again. I think that we are quite unique in this sense. That women have to go to the army when they reach the age of 18, and men also. Women are going for usually serve in the army for 2 years, men for 3.
Compulsory.
Yes, completely. I mean, you cannot not go to the army unless you are married at the age of 18, which you, of course, never, or out of religion,
Right.
kind of reason or something, which again, I mean, it's a very small percent of the population in Israel, but anyone has to go. So this, once you have it, it's really a very strong, I would say, background for equality, in a sense that we share the responsibility of whether you like the army or not. I mean, whether you like the idea of a country have a compulsory army, but the fact that women and men have to share the responsibility of protecting their country, it's give you a very basic and very fundamental equality between the sexes, I would say. But again, I mean, it's kind of also in Israel we have this, some places. Although we are very advanced, you can find some places where women are not as equal as men in many ways and perspective. For instance, very ultra-Orthodox Jews who lives in some of the areas of Jerusalem. Completely. I mean, women. The job is just to cook and cooked and raise children, and the man needs to study or to go to work. I mean, this is one hand. Or if you take the other side of the let's say the Muslim community in our country also. So, and also some of the Israelis who lives in very small villages. But the majority, I would say, really enjoy full equality and kind of good debating about women's rights.
In practice, can I say that the majority of Israeli men actually respect women's rights?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
So they won't help you carry your bags, right?
They will. Because they in Israel because they are since we live in the Middle East, they are still kind of have this macho and this kind of Latin, I would say, temperature. So yes, they respect women. They want women
open
to
the doors
even
for
to be the boss. Yes, but when it comes to being a gentleman, they will open the door for you. They will carry the bag for you.
I like the Norwegian men, right?
Yes. So I like this way actually. I like to enjoy both worlds. Yes. I like someone to open the door for me
But at the
and
same
to accept
time,
me
I
as a
want
boss.
women's rights.
Yeah.
But if I could say something
please.
here, I think the real question is, would you open the door if you saw a man carrying heavy bags?
Yeah, of course.
I think
Of
you
course.
would.
Yes.
I think that's
Yes.
really what we should be aiming for.
Exactly.
Where everybody shows a lot of courtesy to each other and not being encumbered by the view of gender.
Exactly.
I think the stronger must help the weaker. I think sometimes
I agree.
I'm in a stronger position because I can see somebody struggling with a lot of packages or a
Yeah.
man who's in poor health.
Yes.
I think I should help him. I shouldn't automatically assume that in a situation like that because
No, I
I'm
agree.
a woman,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit and he's going to stand in a bus, for example.
Would the key factor be education, though?
I think so very much.
Education would be one
Education
of the
is
key
key.
factors. Yes.
Absolutely. If you don't educate a woman, perhaps she won't educate her children. But I think if the mother is educated, she will ensure that her daughter also is educated. Because she would see that women should have equal educational opportunities. I'm not sure exactly the same thing happens when you educate a man. Because if he's educated, but he chooses to keep his wife uneducated, or his wife is kept uneducated, perhaps not by him, but by society, You know, he would perhaps view the role of boys and girls differently. I think an educated mother would ensure that her daughter is educated. I'm not so sure the same is true of an educated father.